A patient screams in the hallway of a hospital in Arizona. "Save me. Don't let them take me down there." Then he vanishes from the camera frame as if swallowed into nothingness. Doctors are supposed to heal. That's what people still say. But what if someone is paid not to save anyone? On March 12, 2025, at 5:12 a.m., federal agents sealed off an affluent neighborhood in suburban Scottsdale. It wasn't an illegal clinic. It wasn't an unauthorized research facility. It was the $48 million mansion of a renowned surgeon, Dr. Adrian Voss. The man hailed as a medical genius, founder of a chain of free clinics, the one who appeared on magazine covers with the slogan, "Saving lives is my mission." In his garage, beneath the glossy epoxy floor, a concrete slab lifted to reveal an elevator not shown on any blueprints. It descended deep underground, and down there, it wasn't a gym, it wasn't a wine cellar. It was an underground operating room, halogen surgical lights, a blood-stained operating table, freezers containing human organs labeled by age, and a vital signs monitor blinking the chilling message, "Pulled in, patient 14, flatline." In the corner of the room, a box of paper files tied with rough rope. Inside were 43 records of missing patients, all marked by left, all bearing the same signature, Adrian Voss. This wasn't medical ethics. This was a human harvesting operation. Wearing a white coat, the discovery sent shockwaves through the medical community and the media. A doctor who once swore first, do no harm, had used that very oath as a cloak to hide the opposite, harming people for profit. Patients disappeared, records closed in minutes, lives reduced to research data and sponsorship contracts. But the real investigation had begun 4 months earlier, with a report that ICE agents initially thought was a mistake. A 27-year-old immigrant entered one of Voss's charity clinics just for chest pain. He vanished that same night. His mother filed a missing person report at 6 a.m. the next day. By 6:22 a.m. the record was closed. Status left voluntarily. No tests, no follow-up, no documentation. No camera showed him leaving the building. Just one signature, Adrian Voss. But what ICE didn't know then was that he wasn't the first. In the previous 18 months, 43 patients had disappeared from the healthcare system within a 5-mile radius of Voss's 3 clinics. All poor, uninsured, without family, all vanished from cameras, and all records closed in under an hour. Same signature, same note, same lie. An HHSOIG analyst, sitting under pale fluorescent lights in a Washington, D.C. office, spotted this unacceptable pattern. The statistical probability of 43 people in the same area, same profile, same attending physician, all voluntarily disappearing was 0.03%. This wasn't coincidence. This was a manufactured pattern. And when health insurance data, hospital records, and treatment histories were cross-referenced with the clinic's financial transactions, suspicious phrases began surfacing in internal notes. Away by, biomatch, candidate viable, cycle ready. Poor patients kept disappearing around Voss's clinics. But records vanished cleanly as if they had never existed. Camera footage distorted at critical times. Discharge data timestamps altered. Identical EKG strips repeated across different patients. Questions no one dared ask began piling up. Voss, 52, a top thoracic surgeon, once celebrated as the hero of low-income patients, received research funding from major biomedical corporations. His record was spotless. Charity awards, community contributions, inspirational speeches, but the rate of patients leaving AMA in his practice was the highest in the country. The investigative team scrutinized finances. $12.7 million flowed into accounts in the Cayman Islands and Belize over 18 months. Senders were shell companies, mostly tied to medical tourism services where the wealthy paid hundreds of thousands for fast organ transplants. Voss's charity clinics were the recruitment grounds. Poor patients were lured with free exams, then disappeared while records were closed to erase all traces. A judge can close a case, but a doctor can close a life. On 43 lives had been closed by the same hand. The FBI code name for the case, BL in the basement lab. A short designation, but enough to signal that what they were facing was no longer missing patients. It was a system powered by darkness, money, and a white coat that no longer meant saving lives. At 5:12 a.m., the Scottsdale sky was still pitch black when FBI and ICE agents flooded the street, leading to Dr. Adrian Voss's $48 million mansion. No sirens, no lights, just silent figures moving with precision and absolute quiet. When the front door was breached, the raid team surged in and found Voss in his office, hunched close to the screen, trying to delete the last data files. He barely reacted when handcuffed, only glancing at the agents with an unreadable expression, as if he knew this moment was coming. In the garage, one unusual detail immediately drew attention. The concrete floor showed precise industrial cuts. When the tech team triggered the mechanism below, the entire slab lifted, revealing an elevator that didn't exist on the home's blueprints. The elevator descended to a vast, airtight basement, a clandestine medical facility. No hospital would openly operate. The basement lab emerged under flashlight beams, a complete negative pressure operating room. 3 surgical tables still set with unfinished instruments, the air thick with disinfectant, mixed with something spine-chilling. Along the left wall were industrial freezers containing sealed human tissue samples, coded by number. In the hallway corner, a vital signs monitor flickered coldly. Patient 14, flatline. The adjacent room resembled a warped ward, 12 beds bolted to the floor, restraints still in place, cameras mounted directly above each bed, pointed straight down at where patients would lie. On one peeling wall, words scratched with a dull, sharp object. "If anyone finds this, I did not leave voluntarily." The investigators moved deeper into storage and found a thick handwritten ledger styled like a manual spreadsheet. Inside, 43 names carefully listed with ages and statuses, matched, harvested, pending, like tracking products on an assembly line. Some entries circled in red with notes: viable, high value, reject, none marked released or recovered. Finally, they opened a sealed box of paper files tied with cord. On the cover, discharge AMA, completed. Every record inside belonged to missing patients whose families never got answers. Voss's signature repeated like the stamp of a fully operational system. As the team leader stepped out, he said only one sentence, heavy as lead: "This isn't medicine. This is a human dissection assembly line run in the dark." The investigation expanded immediately. The first day after the raid, and the numbers quickly shattered any administrative error theories. Over 18 months, 43 patients were recorded as leaving AMA, but none ever appeared at any other medical facility. No insurance claims, no bank transactions, no digital trace. Wide-eyed Hugh. The probability of all 43 cases voluntarily leaving as described was 0.0002%, too low to belong to reality. When analysts mapped the victims' last known movements, they found a chilling common point. All entered one of the 3 charity clinics founded by Voss: Desert Mercy, Sun Valley Outreach, and Haven Care, and none walked out. Each dot on the map was like a needle pointing to the same center. 3 outwardly praised humanitarian facilities that inwardly swallowed the existence of nameless people. Finances revealed the second layer of the model. $31 million in billing fraud over 14 months, including procedures no patient ever underwent. High-end surgical equipment worth hundreds of thousands imported into the US, but never registered to any legitimate facility. Money flowed through 6 shell companies in the Caymans and Belize, all run by a shadowy holding where Voss was both shareholder and medical advisor. In decrypted emails, agents found phrases never seen in legitimate medical settings. Ready. Biomatch 02. Cycle extraction complete. Viability confirmed. These dry terms repeated rhythmically. Like quality control on an assembly line, only the quality here was human bodies. When the FBI traced contacts, they hit another underground layer. Private labs receiving tissue samples of unknown origin, shipped in cold containers without legal paperwork. Brokers in medical tourism, arranging transplants for VIP clients, had email chains scheduling surgeries on exact dates matching patient disappearances. The model grew clearer when the first witness stepped forward, a nurse who worked at Haven Care, and quit after seeing 3 patients entered into a trial program, never to return. Anyone who went into the trial program was never seen again, she said, hands shaking as she signed her statement. We were told not to ask questions, just follow orders. As federal agencies grasped the scale, they formed a joint task force named Operation Crossmatch, including FBI, ICE, HHSOIG, and forensic medical experts. They cross-referenced records, built timelines, analyzed patient flows, traced surgical equipment, and dissected every financial transaction. Each peeled layer led to another, stronger, colder, more deliberate. The pieces were large enough to form one single picture. None of the 43 patients left voluntarily. They were selected, and when the final report was completed, the team leader said one sentence that silenced the entire room. No doubt remains. This isn't missing patients. This is curated supply. At 4:30 a.m., simultaneous orders were sent to 14 raid teams spread across Arizona and Nevada. Voss's 3 charity clinics were sealed off. 2 research labs were shut down. A warehouse holding cold containers was breached, and the headquarters of the Voss Foundation for Medical Hope, the long-celebrated charity, was searched. Everything happened at once to prevent the network from destroying evidence. From these strikes, a massive puzzle began to emerge. Voss wasn't working alone. Every layer of this network had its own links. The patient recruiters weren't doctors. They were staff at homeless shelters, free consultation, immigration lawyers steering vulnerable people toward Voss's clinics. Once patients entered the system, Medical coders and admins would clean the records, fabricate data, legitimize metrics, and alter timestamps to fit the voluntary discharge narrative. When a case was marked viable, warehouse teams received tissue shipped in cold containers, using protocols identical to lab-certified specimen transport. On the demand side, brokers serving the ultra-wealthy self-styled organ concierges arranged transplant schedules for VIP clients from Dubai, Zurich, and Singapore, seeking fast-lane organ access that legal systems never permit. As investigators dug deeper, the protection layer surfaced. 2 executives at major insurance companies were found receiving regular payments from Voss shell companies to fast-track invalid claims. A cosmetic surgeon approved dozens of fake trials, helping Voss legitimize large numbers of research participants, people never seen again. A biotech researcher accepted rare immune tissue research samples from an unnamed address, Voss's basement lab. His emails showed he knew the source, but remained silent. And at private airports, a cargo handler was paid $12,000 a week to ensure biomedical cargo cleared without any security checks or federal declarations. When teams broke into the main warehouse, they uncovered the biggest evidence, a thick ledger detailing every organ by type, condition, blood group, harvest time, and the person responsible for each stage. Beside it was a whiteboard, harvest schedule, 6 weeks, listing 11 scheduled cases with codes matching missing patient files the FBI had already traced. In another room, agents seized a VIP client list from 4 countries, along with service fees in USD, UR, and AED. It all painted a dark business model, supply from the poor, demand from the rich, and in the middle, a doctor in a white coat. When all raids concluded, 39 people were arrested in total, from janitors paid to move patients to trial areas, to senior clinic directors, to biomedical researchers. Each one contributed a piece to a system so efficient that it took federal agencies nearly 2 years to even detect its existence. As the final basement doors were sealed and suspects escorted to vehicles, the case's shockwaves began spreading beyond a federal investigation. Families rushed to Phoenix, Scottsdale, and Mesa, with slim hopes that their loved ones might be among any surviving victims. Many received only a bag of personal belongings, a few torn records, or worse, nothing at all. One mother stood outside the FBI office, clutching a photo of her 24-year-old son, who had visited Voss's clinic for mild chest pain. Through choking sobs, she said, "I trusted the doctor to save my son, but he sold my son." Those words made even the investigators standing behind her bow their heads. At the same time, the Arizona governor held an emergency press conference. "We have witnessed the weaponization of healthcare. This isn't just crime. This is the deepest betrayal of medical ethics a community can endure." Reporters pressed hard, but no one had a clear answer to the biggest question. How could a famous doctor build such a sophisticated criminal network undetected for nearly 2 years? The follow-up HHS-OIG report made things even grimmer. They believe over 100 additional unreported disappearances exist, and Voss-linked clinics in New Mexico, Colorado, and Texas are under investigation. Some of those facilities also show abnormal left AMA records, camera failures, or timestamps matching transactions from related shell companies. In a closed hearing, a group of summoned healthcare workers provided statements. A young lab technician spoke in despair. "We thought it was research. He said it was clinical trials to save lives. Now we see it was just an organ market disguised as science. Oft disguised as seance." As evening news ran non-stop coverage of the basement lab case, people across the country asked themselves if a wealthy, celebrated, licensed, and trusted doctor could run a man-made hell right under his own home. How much else are we blind to? How many hospitals have unchecked basements? Oft pefta first, awad live. How many poor patients will vanish in silence without anyone asking? That night, the task force commander wrote the final summary line in the report sent to Washington. A chilling truth. Medical ethics was never blind, it was just paid to close its eyes. And as long as we trust blindly, the darkness will keep dissecting those who cannot defend themselves. If this story makes you want to face the truth head-on, please subscribe so you don't miss the next cases. Thank you for watching. See you in the next investigation.